All right. So welcome back to stream. Let's listen. So we're gonna intentionally remove layers from this. We're gonna mute elements out of this to make it sound intentional, to make our sound more expensive. So let me remove one. So already we're hearing that the already sounds a little more professional. I didn't add anything. I simply removed my hit layer, which was the snare. And so from that, that was just to show you that this does work. So beginner producers usually add layers to their sound. And today's stream is about creating space, which creates professionalism in your music. Why empty space makes tracks feel expensive. So to start off, I just removed a layer to show you that. And just talking about that, beginner producers often add layers to sound bigger, while professional producers, they remove layers to sound intentional. So there's a big difference there. You want to sound between sounding bigger and sounding intentional. When you sound intentional, it sounds more expensive and has more taste. So when you're creating a dish, if you're thinking you're making a dish like some food, you wouldn't add every single spice in your cupboard. You would actually intentionally leave out some spices so that, you can taste the flavor of specifically what you want it to taste. And yeah, space is not empty. Space is control. And space creates focus. Focus creates clarity. And clarity feels expensive in your music. So let's play the busy version again. We're going to stop right there, and I'm going to remove some layers, just that first layer we had. So when everything plays, notice how your ear doesn't get a chance to relax. But when fewer elements are playing, your ear gets that chance to relax. And when everything's playing as well, nothing stands out. When fewer things play, each element gains importance in your mix, in your track, and professional mixes, they prioritize that hierarchy when they're producing the tracks. So yeah, so I'm going to open Reactor. I'm going to add a textural layer. So we can go ahead and duplicate this. Just going to add a little texture layer. So let's go in here. Going to take off actually leave the arpeggiation on. And or leave the step sequencer on. Let's add some texture. So that silence creates anticipation. So also it makes our rhythm, space makes rhythm feel designed rather than accidental. So let me play it again. I'm going to remove 2 elements this time. So we can even take out the bass, but you can see that creates a little more bounce, a lot more bounce in our track, and space, and some space to breathe. I even took out the bass. We can bring it back. So that's already sounding a lot better than what we originally had. So let's move on to something else. So we're going to EQ one element, and I think I would EQ the chords. So we're going to cut off some of those, the low ends. Let's see, wait. Yeah. So the reason we're going to do this is so that space, we can add space, and space creates confidence. Okay, so let me use some audio. We don't need the audio right now. Just gonna focus on the actual track. Okay. Add some EQ, roll off some of the low end, just so we can accentuate those highs. Solo. Just get it into focus, like focusing a camera lens. One second. Okay, so we're just kind of carving out anything that shouldn't be there. We don't want to overdo it either. Make it subtle. So that's before, that's before, after, before, So you brought up some of the mids, but cut out the lows. Blend it in a little bit more. So it's already sounding better. Getting at syncopation. Okay, so if you're adding layers because you're unsure, you should really think about it, and let the track breathe. When you leave space, you're saying that your idea is enough and it can stand on its own. So we want all of our ideas to stand on their own. We want them all to be really good. So if you're adding layers because you're unsure, your listener can kind of feel that. So essentially, we are trying to make sure that we add only what's necessary and remove what we don't need, so that we can get precision or focus in our track. So I've done that today. Today we removed some layers so you could hear that. And tomorrow we'll talk about tension and why the drop isn't loud or contrasted. So yeah, let's take a listen again. Okay, and we went ahead, we saved our track. So if you want to actually understand sound design and not just copy presets, I made a 4-part mini course. Links in the bio. I'll see you in the next live stream. Keep sound designing and keep producing.